welcome to the program. Karibu sana, my name is Victor Olo. It's the 22nd day of November 2023. Still rainy, as per the weatherman. This is happening across the country, and many people have been so far affected. The deputy president was in Mombasa yesterday, giving out food relief and other commodities to people who were affected by the floods in Mombasa County. At the same time, he also called upon the governors across the country to support their area constituents in as far as that is concerned. So, Anne Jerry will be appearing before the committee today, Parliament, to shed light on the 17 billion shillings fuel saga. We'll be waiting to see how that is going to pan out, whether she's going to reveal who are the real owners of that consignment, whether she's the real owner or otherwise. So it's a big story that we'll be following up today. But later on the Viewpoint, we'll be talking about matters in state of the nation in 360. I'll be joined by a host of experts here in studio, so stick around for that. We want to take a look at what we have in our education system. There is a story there on the front page of the Daily Nation, which are some of the courses that are marketable in Kenya today. Interesting, right? I didn't see journalism. I'm hurt. Mike, we need to think about our careers. I see IT, finance, business management. I think Regina can work with that pretty well. Engineering, I don't think Regina or Mike can do that. Transportation, all of us, yes. Logistics, Vivian can. Law, all of us cannot. Social skills, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's all of the things. Actually, after I saw that story, the first thing I looked up is to see if journalism was anywhere in that mix, and
yes,
unfortunately it's not.
But there is effective communication. We can
maybe we can fit in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Megwe, and today we have a lot packed up for you. And speaking matters of education, still there's a story I'm seeing here on the People Daily that is saying that KCP exams, the marking has been complete. And like yesteryears when we had to wait for a month or two before the results came out, now things have changed, and children or pupils who sat for their exams will know how they performed by next week. Later on in the show, I'll be joined by one Arnold Ochieng, who is the General Manager of the Workforce Africa, and will be tackling redundancy amidst high cost of living. You want to tune in to that conversation. Vivian, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and good morning to each and every one of you who is joining us from wherever it is that you are watching the show from. Now, I know that from what you just told us, I know that pupils who sat for their KC PE are really, you know.
Yeah.
This is that time when, you know, they're feeling butterflies. I mean, there are some who really don't get this kind of butterflies, but I can just try to imagine myself many years back, around this time.
Yes.
Oh, the butterflies I had. Anyway, the weatherman says that we should brace ourselves for another week of flooding misery, and the rainfall is expected to spread to the central and western side of Kenya more this week. I hope that we are taking care of ourselves during this time when the rains are really pouring. Now, later on the show, I will be having a conversation with a lady who is doing exemplary well in the field that she is in. Her name is Madam Polly Kibe, and she is the director and co-founder of Homes Heart Properties Limited. We'll be looking around how to make your money work for you, and we'll also get to touch a bit on real estate. How do you go about choosing the best real estate to invest in? You definitely want to tune in for that. Right now, I'll pass it over to Regina Manyara. Regina, good morning.
Indeed, glad, Vivian. Now, according to that particular report, Victor and Mike, in regards to the skills needs survey of 2023 that has been carried out by the Federation of Kenyan Employers, indicates that over 42% of employers are finding it difficult to fill vacancies, right? Among the reasons is that the high cost of skilled labor as well as lack of skilled labor.
I was in for that particular report launch, and I asked a quick question. If 42% of employers are finding it hard to fill these positions, how come that the employers are opting to recruit KCSE certificate holders, TVET certificate holders, and undergraduate degree holders instead of those who have acquired masters and PhDs? Another question I put to FKE is there a correlation in earnings? If you have the qualified skill set, are you earning, or are your earnings commensurate to your skill set? Trust me, if you get hold of the report, that particular report remains silent on that particular aspect. We're going to be giving you details of that report and so much more. And if you're currently undertaking your studies, software engineering is the most sought out, course currently. So if you're in school and you're doing engineering, especially computer sciences and such, you need to think about software engineering. And in as much as you are a doctor, lawyer, name it, there are soft skills that recruiters, HR, human resources officers are actually looking for. First of all is critical thinking, time management, and competent communication skills. Good morning. This is Good Morning Kenya. We started off with that particular lecture because, we all are looking for better employment and also looking for those employment opportunities. The details coming up on stories that have been making headlines in the last 12 hours, and we start off with matters of climate change as well as bilateral trade ties, where President William Ruto has called for collaborative efforts between Europe and Africa in seeking solutions that work for all in achieving global climate goals. The president addressed the session of the EU Parliament in Strasbourg, France, where he emphasized on the importance of the EU-Kenya and EU-African cooperation. Nimeruka. Can you imagine this is a whole intro? Like... happening yesterday.
These are the moments we live for every Friday as we catch up with the world of football.
Manchester City go in front.
With your favorite stars in rivalries like no other that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Learn a few tricks that keep you ahead of the game and spice it all with unforgettable moments on Dunda Dunda. On Saturday, you're in for another treat as we rock your weekend with all sporting disciplines, bringing you insights on what's happening behind the scenes as we share players and athlete stories, preparations, and celebrate their achievements.
Charging to the line! Is it going to be a world record? Yes, it is! She smashed it!
Whatever angle you look at, we've got you covered. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Danielle found out that Anibal knows about what happened to Carolina.
You made a big mistake, traitor.
You knew where she was that whole time that she was injured, and you didn't say anything.
There are men already on his trail, and they're going to charge him for that drug shipment.
Look who decided to grace us with his presence.
To forgive me for all the offensive things that I have done to you.
She left very sad because she herself found out that you're already seeing another woman.
But that is not true.
Congratulations!
That as you begin to take on this new path together,
Estaré contigo cuando tú lo quieras en el crudo invierno. متغير ياما عن زمان قافل على قلبك البيبان حبيت وفارقت كم مكان.
Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam alituhimiza tutekeleze mambo ambayo natija yake ni kukaribia Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala na kupata radhi zake.
Je, wewe kama mwanadamu umeweza kuimarisha vipi mafungamano yako katika wewe kama mja na Mola wako tabaraka wa taala?
Balle balle balle.
Good morning, you're still watching In the Headlines and Good Morning Kenya. I'm Regina Manyara. Now we start off with matters updates in regard to the flooding situation where more than 1,000 families affected by the ongoing El Nino rains in Kisauni, Mombasa County on Tuesday received relief food from the government. Speaking while overseeing the distribution of relief food, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua urged the devolved units to enhance support to the flood victims in different parts of the country. So far, 2 people have been confirmed dead in Garissa, Hulugo towns after they were swept up by floods while they were trying to cross flooded roads.
It was a sigh of relief to more than 1,000 families affected by the ongoing El Nino rains in Kisauni after the government moved in to cushion them from the effects of the floods. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua assured the flood victims across the country that the government will do everything within its means to assist the affected families.
Gavana wa Wajir, wa Mandera na wa Garissa wamenunua chakula na madawa. Nimetoa madege, watu wanapelekewa chakula kila pahali. Sisi tutajaribu ile kidogo tunamletea, lakini mwenye kufanya kazi ya kuchunga raia ni gavana kwa sababu wako na pesa. Na sisi katika National Treasury tumewachilia pesa kwa gavana. Zaidi ya shilingi bilioni 10 iko pale na tunataka wananchi walishwe.
Elsewhere, Defense Cabinet Secretary Eden Duale has confirmed that the national government has procured food for the families affected by floods in Mandera South.
Government imenunua zaidi ya bilioni 5 ya chakula. Magavana wamenunua madawa.
Speaking after conducting visits to assess flood disaster impact in Mandera South, Duale, however, urged the Minister of Roads to address the dire state of roads in the northeastern region, where residents are facing considerable challenges.
Shida ni barabara. Ile ndege ilifanya kazi nyingi sana huko Wajir County, ilikuwa inaanza ianze Elwak leo.
Hii barabara inatoka Garissa, Madogashe, Wajir kwenda Mandera, na kuna ile nyingine inatoka Moyale, inapita Bute, Takaba. Kama hizi barabara mbili peke yake ingepitika, hatungekuwa na shida ya kubeba chakula na madawa.
Meanwhile, 2 elderly men last night drowned in Garissa and Hulugo towns following heavy downpour that lasted for over 6 hours and left behind a trail of destruction.
One deputy head teacher, Ahmed Nur Ismail, was hit on the head by the rear rotor of the helicopter. He died on the spot.
Confirming the 2 incidents, Garissa Acting County Commissioner Solomon Chesot said the 2 were trying to close flooded roads when they were swept away by the raging waters.
All the other 9 sub-counties in Garissa County have been cut off from the main roads. Our main road from Garissa to Dadaab is not passable.
In that regard, members of the National Assembly want the President to declare the ongoing floods a national disaster and direct provision of urgent intervention measures. They argue the declaration of floods as a national disaster will invite the attention of the international community and donors to provide assistance to affected persons.
Once the President declares this as a national disaster, donors from all over the world will move in and our people will get help.
The government is every morning waking up and telling us, you are not yet suffering. You are not yet there. You are not yet there. You need to suffer more so that they come in. We need the government intervention.
Tunaomba KDF wasichoke, waende wakasaidia wale maskini. Kitu cha kusikitisha zaidi ni kwamba hata kwenye orodha ukipigia NDMA wanakwambia la West tu mafuriko. Hawashughuliki, hata data hawana. Red Cross hata data hawana.
We have a situation whereby power stations have been submerged and some of the towns now don't have power. Those that do have will go off very soon because there's no fuel.
As late as yesterday, we lost a Form 2 boy who is a student of Takaba Secondary School from Mandera West. He was swept away by a river called Lagsure, which has its sources in Ethiopian highlands.
Madam Speaker, what is our plan? What is our disaster preparedness? What are we doing as a country? Because I can imagine that it can only be worse.
Isiolo North, towards the Marti, Wajir border, on the Isiolo South, Wajir and Garissa border, those are all areas which are being submerged. And there is no help from the government. There is no way accessibility. The only accessibility could be by air.
Moving from one point to the other in Wajir is impossible. For me, I cannot go around in my constituency. I cannot go to anywhere. I can only land in Wajir headquarters and just stay there.
We'll continue keeping tabs on that situation, and you are advised to be more careful, especially when crossing paths with, running water or raging water, so to speak. In a case where it seems you are on your own, the government has dashed the hopes of land developers occupying 2 parcels of land linked to the Kirima family in Nairobi's Njiro area. The Ministry of Land says it has verified the land records and concurs with the court findings that the land belongs to the late Starehe Member of Parliament Gershon Kirima. This now paves way for the eviction of illegal settlers unless they enter into an agreement with the Kirima family.
A court ruling issued on the 23rd of October 2023 was the beginning of what could befall thousands of settlers in 2 parcels of land in Njiru, Kasarani constituency, linked to the Kirima family. A battle that had lasted in court for more than a decade, as the Kirima family attempted to ward off people it deemed as illegal settlers. The Ministry of Lands says it has verified the land documents from the original owner of the 2 parcels of land and the subsequent transfer over the years to the Kirima family, and is now up to the settlers to negotiate with the family to avoid evictions.
I want to say that the government will not be involved in settling those issues between the family and any claimant or any person on that land. They will deal with the family and the court.
CS Ali Swahome says the government is only keen in recovering public utility land in the hands of grabbers along the 2 pieces of land.
All public utilities are public utilities, and anyone who has encroached on public utilities ought to surrender the public utilities. And I think we don't want to go to what happened in Portland.
Believe me, we will not let you torture another Kenyan for 20 years in court. We will battle with you before you battle with the person you are stealing the land from.
Wahome warned members of the public to be wary of fraudsters seeking to stall the impending recovery of the land by the Kirima family.
On the ground, there are members of the public who continue to fall into the traps of people who are still masquerading or calling themselves owners. Whatever proprietary interests they have, we do not have those proprietary interests in our records.
A section of settlers are already in negotiation with the family and are appealing to the government to streamline the title deed regularization process as they rush to beat the eviction deadline.
We've managed to talk with the family lawyers, and all of them have given us letters to confirm that they are ready to steer the process in that direction of negotiation. We are not really interested with any case right now. That's why we are pleading with government really to help our people.
It now appears to be a race against time as the over 150,000 settlers on the Kiriman land rush to avert an eviction that is looming on the 31st of December. But there appears to be differences splitting the two groups, as one has opted to negotiate directly with the Kirima family, while the other has opted to appeal the eviction order.
We'll be keeping tabs on any developments in that front. Now to matters politics, the fate of the report by the bipartisan team appears to be in limbo, with the Bipa Party and constituent party of the Azimio La Umoja coalition saying there will be no report if the question of the cost of living is not adequately addressed. Speaking in Nairobi, Azimio allied lawmakers said the priority of the nation is to address the rising cost of living, and submitting a report that lacks proposals on the same is akin to taking Kenyans for a ride. This as government faulted the opposition for playing politics, maintaining they would not compromise on key issues in the report.
With the 30-day deadline extension for the bipartisan committee team to submit its report, the fate of the report appears to have hit headwinds, with the opposition intimidating that they'll not sign the report if the matter of the cost of living is not adequately addressed. On Tuesday, a section of lawmakers allied to Wiper Party joined the fray, expressing similar calls.
Bipartisan talks with no question the omission, and also our main agenda, of which, if we are not going to agree, it will never take that talks anywhere. It is the main agenda, is the cost of living for Kenyans.
Housing thing is a fallacy. So what we are expecting the bipartisan people to do, number one, to reduce the cost of living means you must amend the Finance Act according to the demands of Kenyans. And then you begin to address cost of living. All the levies and the taxes which have been done illegally through fraud in the National Assembly must be reversed.
At the same time, the leaders called on relevant government agencies to make public of the details of government-to-government oil deal.
All the agencies which are supposed to deal with getting to the bottom line of this issue must move with speed and tell Kenyans, are we going to see the cost of fuel coming down? Are you going to tell us who is G2G? Are you going to tell us who received the fuel? Are you going to tell us where the fuel is?
The so-called G2G we have discovered is more expensive than the world market for oil because of commissions, budgeted corruption, skewed corruption, and a few people making themselves rich.
At the same time, Kenya Kwanza allied lawmakers have faulted the Azimio team for allegedly playing to the public gallery, saying their push to have the housing levy dropped will not be allowed.
Lakini kwa sababu wanataka tu kufanya siasa na kuongea maneno ambayo isaidi nchi ya Kenya, ati wanatuambia watoe. Let me announce to the country from straight here in Bomet, the same way they are telling us that they are deal breakers. Hata hii yetu kwa mambo ya housing levy, that one is a deal breaker.
During the retreat to finalize on the report, the two factions disagreed on the issue of the cost of living, a situation that may lead to the collapse of the talks if a report is not agreed upon before the deadline lapses. It is now a game of wait and see what is next for the brewing political showdown.
Talking about political showdowns, is we are expecting one in Meru County, and this is after the Meru County Assembly are calling on the president to form a metropolitan service unit to oversee the running of the county, saying that the county has become ungovernable under the leadership of Governor Kawira. At the same time, they have also dared their governor to continue and dissolve the county, saying they are willing and they're not afraid to seek a fresh mandate from the electorate. We have seen former governors Kivuda Kibwana trying the same during his tenure, and we're waiting to see what is going to happen in Meru County. Now, to one of the top stories that we have in our various dailies, it's in regard to how qualified are you for that dream job. Now, secondary school certificate holders, technical, vocational and education training graduates, as well as undergraduate degree holders are more employable than masters and PhD holders in the country. This is according to the Skills Need Survey report released by the Federation of Kenya Employers. The report further paints a picture of challenges faced by employers in getting the right fit to fill vacancies, with nearly 42% of employers reporting a challenge in finding the required skill set, as well as a challenge of the high cost of skilled labor.
Data from the Kenya Bureau of Statistics indicates that Kenya's unemployment rate shrunk to 4.9% in the quarter running between October to December 2022, a 0.7 percentage point decline from 5.6% in the corresponding quarter in 2021.
So people need to continue coming back into education, and as technology continues to evolve, these skill gaps will continue to have new skills will be required all the time.
We acknowledge that enterprises and employers need more than insights. They need practical solutions.
In its latest report, dubbed the Skill Needs Survey Report, the Federation of Kenya Employers indicates that ICT, finance, engineering, transport and logistics, as well as legal sectors majorly require an undergraduate degree at 43.8%, and technical and vocational education training, TVET, at 34.9%. Workers with only secondary education are mostly in demand in public safety, corrections and security career fields at 4.8%, as well as in the arts and recreational services at 3.1%.
If you look at this data, what it tells us is that Kenya employers, the employers in Kenya, very few of them need people who have PhDs.
However, 42% of employers have a challenge in filling vacancies due to lack of skilled labor, despite those holding doctoral degrees not being favorable choices for recruitment.
What does that tell us? If it is from policy in government, it tells you that don't put a lot of investments and insistence on PhDs, but we have majority of them, actually even those ones who need people who have more just secondary education are higher than people who need those ones who have PhDs.
This means it is easier for those holding a bachelor's degree and technical and vocational education certificate holders to find job placement than those with higher academic qualifications. The report further indicates that human resource recruiters are now keen on recruiting those with computer competences, soft skills, and foreign language qualifications.
If you are a job seeker, you must be able to communicate. You might have the skills. If you are not able to communicate at the workplace, you don't work in a vacuum. You work with others.
Software engineering remains the most sought skill set in the country, with over 30% of employers seeking individuals with the said skill amid digital integration across all sectors. However, the report remains silent on whether the current earnings by those employed are commensurate to the required skill set.
Well, now you know. Now you know. While filing that particular report, I queried that particular question. If you are qualified, are you going to earn commensurate to your skill set? The report is silent on that. Okay, now we cross over to matters business, where the government has commenced the distribution of the first batch of grain dryers in 15 maize growing counties to reduce post-harvest losses. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi urged farmers to utilize the facilities, noting that each dryer has a capacity to dry 14 tons of maize in 2 hours.
Agriculture Cabinet Secretary was at the National Cereals and Produce Board depot in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County, to flag off 100 dryers to 15 counties. The first phase targets to distribute dryers in the counties of Trans Nzoia, Uasin Gishu, Nakuru, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi, Bungoma, Kakamega, West Pokot, Narok, Kericho, Migori, Bomet, Baringo, Nyandarua and Laikipia.
We have 100 dryers for the country, 100, na tunasipeleka pali mbalimbali. Kwa hivyo, let this information get the citizens of this country.
Linturi says post-harvest loss management has been a major challenge in the agricultural sector, with an estimated loss of 30% of harvested crops.
This time round, the distribution of fertilizer will be better. We have adequate supply of fertilizer, and we only tell you, do your main business, which is kwenda kwa shamba, weka fertilizer, palilia, tuvune, tumekuletea dryer, masto iko.
He challenged farmers to redouble their efforts in the next planting season, noting that the government had lowered the cost of subsidized fertilizers and plans to distribute another 100 grain dryers under the second phase of the program.
We have also subsidized the cost of drying of maize for the farmer so that you're also not exploited. The cost of drying a 90 kilogram bag of maize.
Now we delve into the sporting world, where the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, NOC, is planning to send a selected team of Kenyan athletes to pre-Olympic training camps in southern France to boost Kenya's medal prospects in next year's Paris Olympic Games. NOC President Dr. Paul Tergat, who was speaking at the second National Athletes Forum, said they intend to fill more sports to raise Kenya's stakes at the quadrennial Games.
This forum began today with the National Olympics Committee of Kenya, bringing Kenyan athletes across all sporting disciplines for the two-day event. The forum also seeks to create a culture of free expression among athletes and open up on issues affecting them. There are over 100 athletes from NOC affiliates in attendance at the forum.
As your President of the National Olympic Committee, we want to create an enabling environment for our sportsmen and women who are our rare gem that we have as a nation.
Among key issues being discussed include safeguarding athletes with the aim of ensuring athletes' views are central to decision making. Financial management is also a topic of interest, as it will enhance athletes' ability to manage their own finances. The doping nuisance will also be addressed as part of upholding and practicing a clean sport with integrity.
Well, that puts a cap on matters in the headlines. Be sure to peruse our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke, for further details in regard to where we are as far as the last 12 hours are concerned. Some of the key issues we're going to be keenly following up for you is the flood situation, as government intensifies support to over 27 counties that are flood prone. We're also going to be keeping our eyes on the bipartisan talks, given that particular development from the Wiper Party. They're insisting that if the cost of living issue is not addressed by today, which is a deadline, well, we may not have a report. And also keenly looking at what is going to be happening in Meru County, now that there seems to be another standoff, now pitting the Governor, Kawira Mungaza, against the members of County Assembly, where she has actually threatened and actually promised to dissolve the County Assembly. And a section of MCs are saying, well, we are not worried about that. We are ready to seek a fresh mandate from the constituents. Meru County, matters of bipartisan, as well as the flood situation, some of the key areas we're going to be focusing on. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant viewing. We're also going to be having a candid conversation in regard to what has been making headlines, looking at matters politics, as well as that controversial report by the Federation of Kenya Employers there that indicates that a majority of employers are opting to employ KCSE certificate holders, TVET graduates, and undergraduate degree holders, and not PhD or master's holders. What do you think about that? That's a conversation that Victor is going to be putting into perspective in not too long. Do not go away.
Childhood mortality, or in simple terms, childhood deaths, is an indicator of a society's or a nation's well-being and socio-economic status.
From this report again, we see that there is high male-female mortality compared to female. Under 5 mortality is at par in both rural and urban. It's at 41 deaths per 1,000 live births.
But what are some of the interventions that are being put, and what would you advise?
Delivery at a health facility will improve the chances of the mother and the child survive.
متغير ياما عن زمان قافل على قلبك البيبان حبيت وفارقت كم مكان.
Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam alituhimiza tutekeleze mambo ambayo natija yake ni kukaribia Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala na kupata radhi zake.
Je, wewe kama mwanadamu umeweza kuimarisha vipi mafungamano yako katika wewe kama mja na Mola wako tabaraka wa taala?
Balle 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 akisikia.
Music can be magical. It's the soul for life and gives immense space to us. It has a powerful therapeutic effect on the human psyche. Whether secular or gospel, there's a song for everyone, every occasion, and every emotion. God bless you.
Huyo mama pesa ilienda.
So traumatizing sana. Wewe iko tuendesha mimi pole pole.
Wewe.
Iko painful.
Wewe. Anarusha watu pesa. Yeye anaitisha, anakuonyesha picha, anakuonyesha bei ya gari.
Ndio alikuwa akue telefa wake wakati kali kitoka. Wiki sasa kutoka na hiyo kali na ulitokea KBC.
Kutokea gate C ni makosa.
Si makosa.
Mzee, kama una swali la kukusaidia kwa hii kesi.
It's a cocktail of emotions, the puns that cracks up the family, greed that yields power, and a hunger for success. Trends turn to foes. Survival for the fittest is the drive.
Who are we blackmailing?
But nothing beats the feud in a family where one disappears and another fights for the crown.
It was not supposed to go this far.
It's the desire to succeed that keeps us going, the deception that keeps us digging, and the laughter pill that keeps us living.
Have you heard of the castling move? It's when you can move your king 2 steps and the rook jumps over the king. King can only move 1 step, and the queen can move anywhere. I started playing chess when I was 5 years old.
Do you fear? And when you are scared, how do you behave? And that is a story from our book, The Jackal and the Drum.
My name is Marvel Laura. We'll be baking vanilla cupcakes.
I'm going to teach you how to make a love bear.
I'm going to play dance monkey.
The importance of such initiatives, especially with Bethel Network, is to help the less fortunate in our societies, especially the girl child, so they're able to continue with their day-to-day activities as they pursue their education without any interruptions.
I find that there's a lot of menstrual shaming where ladies are, if you have a stain, you're told, unachekelewa, yani, like, it's funny, but for the girl, it's diminishing because we feel bad, like you feel it's a problem.
By having this interactive session about menstruation cycle, we actually try to get rid of the stigma that, deals with period shaming and make period a conversation that is really proudly owned by boys and girls. Differently.
Welcome. As you can see, that's a long shot of our studios, how we are now ready for the viewpoint. Good morning. My name is Victor Olo. It is the Wednesday, and if it's Wednesday, you know it's about the viewpoint. And today is around, it's 7:20 actually. We are going to have that discussion. FKE gave their report yesterday, and finding as far as matters education and employment in the country is concerned. Regina has talked about it, and there's a package to that. We are going to be playing that for you. What is the mismatch between what an employer wants and what an employee has? That is the biggest question. There is that report yesterday that most of the employers are either looking for people who are undergraduate or diploma holders. So where does that leave master's holders, people who are actually undertaking their master's classes right now, or even PhD holders? So where does that leave the entire education system? I have got three gentlemen who are able to answer that question later on. I have got Naftali Nyamongo, who is also here with me. He's a political analyst and a governance expert. I have got Mwathi Ireri. There you have him. Mwathi Ireri is also governance and political analyst, quite knowledgeable. He's also a lecturer. Karibu sana. And Wilson Sosion, we all know him. He's not a stranger in Jerusalem. We know where he stands. There you have him. Walimu, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. We are going to have a good discussion. All of us are products of education, and at some point we went to class. I believe some of us are still students in one way or another. Yeah. Okay, stick around for that. We have a good discussion. Okay, what about now? Let me take you through the front page, the traffic situation in the CBD. Let me start before you leave the house. This is what the traffic looks like today in the city. It's already a mess, as you can see here. Thika Road is not so good. That is what it's like. All the way from Survey, around Survey, coming down to Utali Hotel, all the way past Pangani there, coming to just around Pangani Shopping Center. That is where the problem is. That is actually also spilling over to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. See how Kiambu Road looks like, okay? That is what Kiambu Road looks like. It's extending all the way past DCI headquarters. So you have to be very much patient. But outbound Kiambu Road looking fine. The same is also replicated along Limuru Road. That is starting at around Forest Lane going towards City Park. And that is because there is a construction happening along this stretch. There you see that where the problem is. It also extends slightly around, just around City, the Gymkhana there, but after that it's moving. And after Pangani Square, coming all the way to the CBD Moranga Road, joining Globe Roundabout, looking pretty fine. How about Westlands? Those people coming all the way from the western side of the city, all the way from ABC Place, coming from Kangemi, Uthiru, joining ABC Place, Westlands Roundabout Shopping Center there, looking pretty fine. So if you're using that route, you have a moment to drive to work. Mombasa Road, so far so good. Nothing to report about. Looking good. I think what Mombasa Road, you are a blessed lot. You either use the expressway and have your way, or go use the southern bypass and head towards Kikuyu, get out of the CBD. A blessing to you there. Looking at Ngong Road so far, leo iko poa, and it's a bit of some traffic here at the Junction Mall, I think because of the light, and that's also head towards Kingara Road, going towards Gitanga Road. Gitanga Road all the way from around, coming from, that is Kawangware, Breban School, Amboseli Lane, coming towards Feeder. That's where the problem is, but you have to be very much patient. But after that, so far, so good. That is what the traffic situation like in the city. And that is just but about that. Let me take you what we have on our X page or Twitter. If you not, somebody must be wondering, what is X? This is Twitter. It's changed. So far, there's nothing to report about here as far as traffic is concerned. All right. Yeah, there you have it. Cartoon. All of us are products of cartoon. We watched cartoons at some point. Okay? There you go. I'll give you more as we continue with this particular one, because we'd have to take a look at the traffic situation in the city. If you have got something to tell us, please come to our X page and talk to us. This is courtesy of the Mathri route. You can talk to us at KBC. You can also drop a photo there or a video and tell us the situation around where you are. Okay, that is that. Let me take you to the front page. Just before we continue with that, let me take you to Mombasa. Mombasa has been hugely affected by the floods because of the heavy rains being experienced across the country, and we still continue to say pole to those families affected. The Deputy President was there yesterday and told the governor, please release the funds. So what is the traffic situation like? Jali Road, all the way from Halapa, coming all the way to Kongowea Market, looking pretty fine. A bit of some spots of dotted areas of traffic, but so far the entire stretch, so far so good. Until you come towards Kongowea Market, hapo ndio kuna shida kidogo tu. After that, heading towards New Nyali Bridge, looking okay. Now, how about all the way from Makupa? There's a bit of some traffic at the roundabout here. That is the Gateway Service Lane coming to Makupa Causeway. Now this is one of the best thing that ever happened to the coastarians. Watu Mombasa. It would take you hours just to cross this Makupa Bridge as you come from that side of the town, coming into the Mombasa city. It was a mess. So far, kila kitu iko sawa. Finally, what's the situation at the ferry point? I'm not seeing why the traffic is not loading. Probably I'll have to load it later on, but as it is, it looks okay. All right, so that is what it is. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Again, I want us to go through the front page of our local dailies. Let me start with what we have here on the front page of the People Daily. As you can all see, homeowners lose in Kirima Land Row. Homeowners lose in Kirima Land Row. It says that that's all because of the proper dispute. Land CS Alice Wahome rules out any government intervention after court declines to suspend eviction order. And families now occupying the 1,000 acres have until end of the year to move out. That is as far as this is concerned. They want ruling quashed as heir of Italian who sold the land to politician dragged into the dispute. According to CS Alice Wahome, the land was sold way back in 1972. 1972. Still on the front page, talks. Wiper Party gives tough stamps. Kalonzo allies warn that they will call for mass protests if Azimio conditions in bipartisan negotiations are ignored. That is what you have on the front page of the People Daily. Again, just to finally, child molester back in court months after he left prison. And finally, why parents of teenagers face big challenges. Gentlemen, let me take your quick interaction of what we have on the front page of the People Daily. Homeowners lose in Kirima Land Row. We have this, but who will always tell Kenyans the truth? Let me start with you, Mathieu. Good morning.
To you.
Yeah, go ahead. Front page of the People Daily. Homeowners lose in Kirima Land Row.
Yeah, actually this was this is something that has taken quite some time in court.
Yes.
Kirima's family and some people who had invaded the land had been sold to them fraudulently. And at least at the end of the day, the court made its ruling.
Yes.
So it's now upon the family and the owners to just forget about whoever sold the land to them, because it has been clear that whoever sold the land to them was not the original owner. The ministry, the court has already ruled that the land belongs to Kirima. So it's a wake-up call to all of us when we are doing or when we are purchasing land in Kenya. We should maybe take the due. We should follow the due process and know maybe whether we are doing the right thing or not. Maybe it's a lesson to all Kenyans that we should be careful.
Kalonzo now says that according to the talks that they will call for mass action if negotiations are ignored. A quick check on that before we take a break.
Yeah, those talks, the talks have been there for sometimes, and it's the hope of every Kenyan that we meet, or rather we reach a good amicable solution to all those issues which were being discussed there.
Yes.
But remember, this is politics. We must, each and every side must look at what they had really agitated for. Remember, the opposition was looking at the cost of living.
Yes.
This was what they were really pushing. So they should be able to ensure that it is well looked at. Remember, there is also this other issue of the parties, interference of the party, the independence of the parties. The opposition is saying that unless this is met, we cannot sign this. So at the end of the day, the government is also saying about the cost of living, leave it to us. Because we are in government. We are the ones who are supposed to set the rules and regulations and see how we will under the cost of living. So this push and pull, I don't see it as an analyst. I don't see it ending soon.
Okay. Let's take a break, and we come back. I will also circle back with Naftali and Susion to give me their insight as far as headlines is concerned. Stay with us.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is one thing we can always count on: the power of compassion and generosity. Every day, families in Kenya face unimaginable challenges and hardships. They struggle to put food on the table, provide shelter for their loved ones, and access basic health care. But today, you have the power to make a difference. By just contributing 1 shilling and 50 cents from your airtime, your generosity can provide access to sanitary pads, nutritious food, clean water, education, and life-saving medical care to those who need it most. To support this cause, please tune in to your favorite radio station under the KBC umbrella for step-by-step instructions on how to subscribe. KBC Helping Hands. Together, we can make a difference and bring hope to those in need.
KBC Channel 1 magazine programs strive to disseminate news and information.
Welcome to Happening in the World of Entertainment
and achievements of individuals navigating through life.
Be part of the intelligent conversation upon KBC Channel 1.
Related to the interest of Kenyan public on various subjects of national importance.
Keeping you up to date with the latest tech news,
challenges, and remarkable stories of individuals with disabilities. And you have a say.
Our magazine programs empower communities with words for conversations and a common language to approach the world.
For your infotainment needs, we have a great range of programs. A man's death has condemned them to live a rivalry because of their father.
He killed my brother. He stayed with his land and with his wife. Or did you forget how my brother Tulio Irazabal died?
I dare you to kiss me again.
What we feel is too strong to just let it go.
Your wife is cheating on you. Shut up! Who is your lover?
Tell me why last night you lied to your boyfriend, Amparo.
Explain to me what you were doing outside our house, kissing the veterinarian.
I have fallen in love with another man.
3 love affairs that will be challenged. The 3 will manage to get ahead. Their magnificence, their passion and strength. Las Bandidas.
And welcome back. So, Naftali, take a quick look at what you have. You can also chime on this headline of the People Daily. Homeowners lose in Krima land row. Probably the issue, the cost of landowners in Kenya might not end anytime soon. Who will save Kenyans? Someone once said that, in whose hands are we safe? Go ahead.
Good morning and hello viewers. Yeah, Victor, the people of Kenya have the right to protection of property. It is a right in the Bill of Rights. Article 40 envisages protection of this property that is subject to Article 65. Every citizen has the right, either individually or in association with others, to own property, number one, of any description, number two, anywhere in Kenya. So the Krimas have that right to own that property, that land. So whether there is a row or not, there are institutions which we have put in place as the people of Kenya to handle these matters. And this institution, the first institution is the judiciary. So a person ought to go to court if there is an issue in a Krima at the High Court and institute court proceedings. And there in the High Court, there is today what we call ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution. Right. So the case is presented to the mediation deputy registrar, then it undergoes screening. Then this case, I'm telling you, because I've been in the court annex mediation, this Krima land row will only be solved through alternative dispute resolution, where people, the parties, the disputants will be told, come here and sit down. Let us find a solution from you people, so that we can have a win-win.
This is what C.S. Alisome said, that the government will not be part of any intervention after court declines to suspend eviction order. C.S. Sosiom, good morning.
Good morning.
A quick look at this one. 1,000 acres of land. He says that a mediation is the only way to go.
This is a graphic indicator of the historical land question and land grabbing in Kenya. The question, we ask ourselves a number of questions. Who sold this land? Who possessed it? Because this must have been done in government offices. And this brings me to the issue of state capture, where officers are captured and you use government officers to possess property of others, contrary to the provisions of the Constitution and the law, and then you sell it to unsuspecting, innocent Kenyans. And I know there's a law in the penal code which criminalizes you when you handle stolen property. And now fast forward to this case, a judgment has been rendered. And this matter has been in court for 10 years. And as a country of the rule of law, we must respect the court rulings. If we were to respect all court rulings, we would be a very organized country of the rule of law. And Kenyans would be very cautious when buying property. You must do a proper search and know that this is clean property that you are buying. And this is not the first time we are seeing even demolition of structures in illegally acquired land. So land acquisition illegally has been an order of the day in this country. And, and I think the CS is right when she says, let the affected people deal with the Kirima family. Maybe they can be magnanimous and settle those things in a certain way, or deal with the courts. Because government will not interfere, I think. And the government of Kenya Kwanza is about the rule of law. Let's follow the law as it is. And I think moving forward, going into the future and drawing from these lessons and many others, and others that will come, we will know that the rule of law is sacrosanct.
Very well. And now that you're still on the floor, you are still in order, let me take you. You can also chime on the front page of the Standard here. The Standard says that police in crisis talks over damning report. That was a report given by the task force chaired by retired Justice David Maraga's task force, which made stinging recommendations against the National Police Commission, and a meeting has been set for next week. after one aborted yesterday, to discuss a way forward and start the implementation process, including calls for commissioners to head home. This is what you have on the front page of the Standard newspaper. And just before that, standing ovation for Ruto in EU. He was giving his speech yesterday in France. He addressed the European Union Parliament in Strasbourg, that in France yesterday, where he pitched for climate change initiatives and a trade balance with Africa. Perhaps you can take a quick look on this one, Susan, before we continue. Go ahead.
Yes, Chapter 15 commissions. If we were to conduct a thorough forensic audit on constitutional commissions, yes, many commissioners will go home the Cherera way. And I think there are now more Chereras in the police service commissions doing a disservice to our uniformed officers. So that report and those recommendations are not in vain. They should be implemented. And if heads must roll, let them roll. Yes. In this administration, those who don't want to comply should ship out. And those who want to serve should serve. And with respect to the president's trip to Germany and France, and particularly addressed to the European Union, we all followed, and I think for the first time in Africa, we have a very hardworking and knowledgeable president, and who can convince other entities. And I think at the international stage, President Ruto has scored a distinction on that, and is carrying the collective grievance and position of the entire continent of Africa. Right. If you look at the text of the speech to the EU, it was mainly collective interest of the continent of Africa and how we should strengthen cooperation and partnership across the world to advance the interest of Africa, and particularly those of climate change and so many others. And a standing ovation from Parliament of EU. And I don't know when we last had any of our president addressing the Parliament of EU. This is a very serious forum that brings together parliamentarians of the entire critical countries of Europe. And I think this is a major score by the president. And by any standard, this is a hard-working Kenyan. And if all government workers can work hard and emulate the president, and we stop these street threats and nonsense of negative politics and negative energy. If we all did that, then Kenya will be a better place. And believe me, Victor, Nairobi has been ranked as the most favorable destination to visit. And favorable destination to visit means in business and in many things. And I think the president has contributed a lot to that. And so Kenya, we have an opportunity both in the global scene and at the regional level via a hardworking and competent president.
Nyamongo, quickly, on the front page of the Standard, police in crisis talks of a damning report. Of course, that story is here. You can take that. You see that it says that, let me just give you what the story says. The report which says that, yeah, there you go. That part of the recommendation is in the final report, the task force said that NPAC has failed to deliver in the human resource docket as dictated by the Constitution, and that their functions had been usurped by the police commanders. And now part of the recommendation is that some of them will have to go home. Nyamongo, very quickly.
Yeah, I think the report by Maraga in regard to the police is geared toward fostering national security. Because the National Police Service is one of those national security organs responsible for our national security. Remember, national security is the protection against internal and external threats to Kenya's territorial integrity and sovereignty. It's the people, their rights, freedoms, property, peace, stability, prosperity, and other national interests. So what Maraga has done through the recommendation of the report is purposely to enhance our police force, to enhance our police system, to enhance our police officers, to have that social force which binds them for the courses of action demanded by that force.
Okay.
In regard to the standing ovation of the president at the European Union, I will also echo the sentiments of Honorable Susion, that indeed we have a president with a quality which outshines the usual for the first time. In fact, he is ranking first after Mwai Kibaki. President Ruto
is ranking
first because as things are.
Okay.
In regard, remember, Victor, when we have distribution of functions between the national government and the county governments, function number one of the national government is foreign affairs, foreign policy, and international trade. There is a reason why the framers of the Constitution of Kenya ranked that foreign affairs, foreign policy, and international trade to be function one of the national government. And that is why the president, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, is now spearheading. He has a function under Article 132 to fulfill the international obligations of the Republic. And that is why he has been recognized internationally. This is what we call humanitarian diplomacy. Humanitarian diplomacy is persuading decision makers and opinion shapers to act at all times in the best interest of the vulnerable through the fundamental humanitarian principles.
Yes.
And remember,
perhaps Director can just have this one, what we are talking about on the front page. Director, just beam this kindly. There you have it. Nyamongo, as you continue with that.
Yeah. So the president, I'm echoing the words of Honorable Session, that indeed this president, let us give him time. There is a vision he has for this country. He is bright and brisk. He is knowledgeable. He knows where to touch.
Yeah.
You cannot deal with the government, the state, without having that policy, international policy, through the United Nations. Remember, the Millennium Goals ended in 2015. And in 2015 now, we have, after 2015, we have the Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations organizations. And one of them, objective number 13, is climate action. 14 is life below water. 15 is life on land. So what the president is doing actually is going to seek that humanitarian assistance, humanitarian action, and expertise and skills from the international community.
Yes.
Because we are part of the international community. Remember, as humanitarian diplomats, we act under the international humanitarian
law. Why do you think the issue of balance of trade with Africa and other nations is quite important? As far as climate change is important, remember we just had COP28 is coming in a few days or a week to come, and he's also still rooting for this balance of trade. We have Mudavadi is here, Honorable Mudavadi, Kimani Ichung'wah, can see Murkomen at the background, I can see Aaron Cheruiyot and a couple of other dignitaries who accompany him.
Yeah,
go ahead.
The reason why he's interested in balancing that trade is because of OCHA. Do you know OCHA? OCHA is the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, and it is tweeted here at Gilgil. The president knows through intelligence that people who are awarded money or that capital for commerce internationally are people from Europe. Africans do not have the share. Why? Africans do not have what? That insight about what we have in the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs at Gilgil. It is a United Nations office. We are members of the United Nations because the Constitution of Kenya under Article 2, Sub-Article 5, the general rules of international law shall form part of the law of Kenya. So the president has the right and the power to ask for those privileges, to ask for those rights, because we are part of the international community.
Ireri, I think now that they've set the pace, you can also talk on this one. As you come on the front page of also the front page of the Standard newspaper, you can just you can start with that. Go ahead.
That's true. This is a clear indication that any change will always have some resistance. Will always come with people thinking that things are not, because they have been used to being in the comfort zone or rather working in their normal way. So with we know Maraga is we take him with a lot of respect. We know he has been a Chief Justice of this country, and we know the kind of report he has come up with may not be very suitable to those.
In fact, part of the report says that the task force has been left with no option but recommend government considers a negotiated exit for the current commissioners of NPSC.
True. So because of this, you remember you are touching people's lives, people's working way of working. So at the end of the day, you expect that, and given that. This thing, first of all, why was Maraga given this task? It is because there was something wrong. There was something that needed some action. Something that was not good in the police force. It's not a secret. We know when we come to ranking of the corruption, police have always been at the top among other government agencies. So something had to be done, and whatever was to be done may not be very suitable for to those sitting in those offices. So, and that's why you see some of those recommendations which are not very good. So at least they have to go and see what to do. But at the end of the day, we thank the president first for coming up with this task force. We thank Maraga for coming with such a good report, and we are hopeful. Kenyans are hopeful.
But generally, to all of you, what do you think, if this report is fully implemented, what kind of change, either positive or negative, will you have in the police force? I mean, police service. There's been that trend to change the entire system to make it community friendly and people friendly.
The good thing with us Kenyans is that when a change comes for the better, we are really into it. Go back straight to when we used to go in matatus packed like, and when Michuki came up with the people adapted. So this one,
I think I said that we are not, people are afraid to change. Even Israelites were not ready to accept that move. You know, they rejected at some point.
So this will be rejected by the police force, but the general public and the other stakeholders, other than the police. Remember, there are so many other stakeholders. These other stakeholders will be very much willing to see the end result of this. And I'm sure we will be, in near future, we may see a very changed police force, which will be for the better of the common mwananchi. Let me also go down to the EU, where the president was. This is very encouraging, and let me not dwell on what our my colleagues have dealt with. Let us look. Let me dwell on what we expect after this, because you see, we had most of these countries which are more developed than us, and we are expecting so much from them. We expect tourists. We expect to trade with more nations now, more than even our usual Britain, France, and the rest. So the good thing about this is the confidence that this parliament will have on Kenya. So we in the near future we are expecting more countries trading with us. We are expecting more tourists from these countries who had their preferred destinations elsewhere, maybe coming to have a taste of Kenya. We are expecting most of these countries to bring more to have more resources. Some of them to come and trade, come and set up their businesses here in Kenya. So this is a very good move, and through this we are expecting, we are widening the gap of where Kenya can trade with. We are enlarging nets on how Kenya can trade well.
Thank you so much. That's also captured on the front page of the Daily Nation. Here you can see it. You can take a look at the front page of the Daily Nation. Ruto addresses EU Parliament. He's been away. President William Ruto addressed the European Union Parliament yesterday in Strasbourg, that is in France. He urged the EU to support Kenya's plans to deploy police officers to Haiti, and also rallied Europe to support Africa's quest to unlock the economic potential, something that we've talked about. But gentlemen, the biggest point here again, just before we go to the front page, Anne Njeri to face MPs today over the 17 billion shillings fuel saga. That is what we have on the front page. And Koinange here seeks to divorce wife in a 3 billion shillings estate row. Okay. The big front, the splash of the front page is courses, skills that will land you a job fast. That is what we're having today. Courses, skills that will land you a job fast. According to the report, employers in Kenya are in dire need of workers in the field of information technology, finance, business management, engineering, transportation, logistics and law. Social skills, including effective communication and critical thinking, are also key factors during recruitment, according to a new skills gap study. This is what we have on the front page of the Daily Nation. All of us are products of education, but when we have this kind of report by FKE, which was done yesterday, and Regina gave us a very good package as far as that concerned, raises a lot of concern. Director, probably if you have that story, you can run it before we take a look at what the story has.
The Bureau of Statistics indicates that Kenya's unemployment rate shrunk to 4.9% in the quarter running between October to December 2022, a 0.7 percentage point decline from 5.6% in the corresponding quarter in 2021.
So people need to continue coming back into education, and as technology continues to evolve, these skill gaps will continue to have new skills will be required all the time.
We acknowledge that enterprises and employers need more than insights. They need practical solutions.
In its latest report dubbed Skill Needs Survey Report, the Federation of Kenya Employers indicates that ICT, finance, engineering, transport and logistics, as well as legal sectors, majorly require an undergraduate degree at 43.8%, and technical and vocational education training, TVET, at 34.9%. Workers with only secondary education are mostly in demand in public safety, corrections and security career fields at 4.8%, as well as in the arts and recreational services at 3.1%.
If you look at this data, what it tells us is that Kenya employers, the employers in Kenya, very few of them need people who have PhDs.
However, 42% of employers have a challenge in filling vacancies due to lack of skilled labor, despite those holding doctoral degrees not being favorable choices for recruitment.
What does that tell us? If it is from policy in government, it tells you that don't put a lot of investments and insistence on PhDs, but we have majority of them, actually even those ones who need people who have more just secondary education are higher than people who need those ones who have PhDs.
This means it is easier for those holding a bachelor's degree and technical and vocational education certificate holders to find job placement than those with higher academic qualifications. The report further indicates that human resource recruiters are now keen on recruiting those with computer competences, soft skills, and foreign language qualifications.
If you are a job seeker, you must be able to communicate. You might have the skills. If you are not able to communicate at the workplace, you don't work in a vacuum. You work with others.
Software engineering remains the most sought skill set in the country, with over 30% of employers seeking individuals with the said skill amid digital integration across all sectors. However, the report remains silent on whether the current earnings by those employed are commensurate to the required skill set.
Mheshimiwa Sosion, you've heard the story, courses, skills that will land you a job first. Go ahead.
I think this is not new. This has been identified by the education sector, and that is why when you look at the proposal of CBC, particularly in senior secondary,
yes,
the pathway towards 3 routes, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that is STEM, will absorb over 60% of candidates at all times. Then the other two pathways of humanities and sports will take the rest. Now, this analysis has given us the obvious results that the market will still desire STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in the different areas. But the main qualifications are the bachelor's and at the diploma level. And the other critical thing is communication. And when you look at what the president is talking about, exporting our labor to the diaspora, then we'll need a workforce that is gifted linguistically, both in terms of English, proficient in English, and also in foreign languages. Because if you're exporting workers to Germany, they must speak German. And I would say from the education perspective where I come, Kenyans are the most sought after in the diaspora for work because of proficiency in English. And though the indicators here indicates that it's a gap that is still required, there's a lot that needs to be done. So that calls for the curriculum developers to strengthen the teaching of languages and also to strengthen the teaching of STEM education. Remember, I've been at the forefront arguing very seriously about the curriculum which was being brought. The CBC, as it was and as it was rolled out, was going to be deficient of the basic knowledge that that has been outlined as a gaps in this. But I'm happy that with the correction through the Presidential Working Party in Education and Reforms, and this has been exemplified by exit exams in grade 9, summative at 60%, and at grade 12, summative at 70%, is going to strengthen and ground the basic, the very fundamental aspects of knowledge other than skills. Kenya Kwanza administration, through the PWPR, is putting a lot of emphasis in TVET. And if you look at the latest master plan, is that through the CDF we shall have ICT hubs in every ward. And as you can see, ICT skill and communication is the most sought after. And I think from government policies and the agenda of Kenya Kwanza, within a short time, we shall be able to align our education system to meet the market needs. And then finally, we've seen what is popular is the diploma and undergraduate and not postgraduate.
That is
the most critical entry to the market.
Masters holders and even
PhD the holders. Most critical entry skills that are required in the market.
Thank you.
And by many employers, the cost-effective manner is diploma skills and bachelor skills.
Thank you.
That has not changed over time.
Let's take a break. We still have to talk about this once we come back because it's affecting all of us. And I still have Naftali and Ireri so that we talk about this once we come back. The question is, employers, here are the skills that you need to get a job. Much more after this break. Stay with us.
Daniel found out that Anibal knows about what happened to Carolina.
You made a big mistake, traitor.
You knew where she was that whole time that she was injured, and you didn't say anything.
There are men already on his trail, and they're going to charge him for that drug shipment.
Look who decided to grace us with his presence.
To forgive me for all the offensive things that I have done to you.
She left very sad because she herself found out that you're already seeing another woman.
But that is not true.
That as you begin to take on this new path together,
estaré contigo cuando tú lo quieras. en el crudo invierno. All nation rise.
Childhood mortality, or in simple terms, childhood deaths, is an indicator of a society's or a nation's well-being and socio-economic status.
From this report again, we see that there is high male-female mortality compared to female. Under 5 mortality is at par in both rural and urban. It's at 41 deaths per 1,000 live births.
But what are some of the interventions that are being put, and what would you advise?
Delivery at a health facility will improve the chances of the mother and the child surviving.
Welcome back. We are talking about the issue of education here, where's the mismatch between an employer and an employee. That is as per the report which was released yesterday by FKE, saying that there are some courses and skills that will land you a job. Some will, but not that fast. Here are some of the conditions that, according to FKE, some of the courses that will land you a job pretty fast. I was a bit worried when I didn't see journalism here, but at least my heart, I was a bit easy when I saw effective communication. But still, there's no journalism and mass communication here.
It is communication.
It's FKE.
Communication.
Journalism is communication.
What you are doing is communication.
I want to see journalism and media studies. Naftali, go ahead. This probably not land so well with many people.
Yeah.
Right.
The point there is that, the 844 system was a competent system. But you see, in Kenya, it's another thing, because when you finish your Form 4, then you qualify for university for a bachelor's.
Yes.
Then the government forces you to pursue a course which you don't like. That is where now the problem is.
Yes.
And I'm the victim. And I'm one of the victims.
What happened?
Yeah, I've done accounts. I've done accounts from the University of Nairobi. But my area, my passion, my career, that vision which I had was not in accounts.
What was it?
And many people were forced through the 844 system to pursue courses in the university or in the higher education because of that government sponsoring something, and now they are working where they are not favorable from the bottom of their hearts. But the 844 system is a competent system globally. Yes. But in Kenya, it failed the people of Kenya. The reason why I'm saying like that, for you to be a certified professional mediator, I mean accountant, you don't need only that degree, degree in accounts. You need that short course called certified professional accountancy. From either CASNEP or elsewhere, for you to qualify into the market level. So that report has a gap. It needed to focus on these short courses. I am today a certified professional mediator, and I work at the court annex mediation. But what put me there is not a degree only. I went and did another continuous professional development course in the name of professional mediation from the African Nazarene. So for you to be fiscally fit, for you to have that quality of being adequately and well qualified intellectually and fiscally in the job market, then you need these short courses called certified. Even Honorable Soshun, for him to be a teacher, he went for some certification from TSC to have that number, practicing number. After you finish law from any law school, you go again to a certified what? Diploma at the Kenya School of Law. So there's a gap in the new report, and this is in regard to the short courses.
Correct.
They are very important.
You're lucky that the legal fraternity, that is the law that you're part of, is also forming part of the statistics. And finally, I'm happy that after law, journalism and mass communication, public relations. Finally, I'm a happy man. So
you found
yourself now.
You found your
I'm a happy man. Okay. So IT, finance, business management, engineering, transportation, distribution, and logistics, and law most marketable. So where does this leave other courses? Because we have got plenty of courses. Ready? This probably it's casting a lot of doubt to students who are taking other courses currently as we speak.
Thank you, Victor. Number one, let me start by saying that the report, nobody will embroil you for the sake of embroiling. Somebody will embroil you, or everybody will embroil you just because there's a problem that he wants you to solve.
Yes.
There's a solution that you have the capacity to have a certain solution to a certain problem somewhere. So, and then we look at where is the world going. We are heading towards IT. So that puts that's why the IT tops or leads the pack. Just because today, if you are not maybe a computer literate, you are similar to that person who didn't know how to read and write in the 70s and 80s. So when we are choosing our courses to the students, we should be able to look at where will the world be maybe 5, 10 years, 20 years from now. And that is why those people who saw that in the early 90s and late 80s and went towards the IT area, that's why they are reaping that today. I mean, everybody will give you a job to come and offer a solution. The problems we are having today most of them are in the IT field. Cybercrime, we need software developed for us. So when we look at where the world is going, we will be able to see what is happening. Look at finance. We are crying today that the cost of living is escalating. We are crying today that we need something done in our today's in the economy. We will come and offer those solutions. We are having the finance guys. That's because there is a problem. Then we need people to solve that problem. That's why now, when we are choosing our careers or to the graduates, when they are choosing what to do in the universities, they should look at what problems will be there 10 years from now, 5 years from now, then get into that. Right. That's why even the degrees, and by that you don't mean there's no degree which is useless. There's no course that is useless. But we should be able to look at where will the problem be in the days to come. Today there was a problem. This Mheshimiwa will tell you there was a problem. There was a time when we had problems of teachers. Yes. There was a time, when I went to high school, in the 844 system, when it was starting, in my school, back in Embu, we had 3 Ugandans who are teaching, in my school. But today we have plenty of teachers. That means those days there was a problem of teachers. There was a shortage of teachers. But now we have solved that. It doesn't mean if you take a degree in education, you are doing wrong. You should take it, but then also even if you are doing education, then what area should you be? Let me also talk of the masters and the PhD. Remember, there is always an entry level in every job. those people, the diplomas, the degrees, that is where the entry levels are in each and every organization. But then the degrees and the masters and PhDs are also important, because as these people with the degree, with the master, with the bachelors and the diplomas are working, they need some people above them to give them the policies, the managerial positions. But then if you have somebody or an organization looking for somebody with a PhD or a master's, it must be accompanied by experience.
As per the report says that actually, it said that a healthy 50% of employers said that they seek employees with tech-oriented courses in various career fields. This is followed by finance and management, 48%, legal profession at 36%. Naftali, you're a happy man. I will still continue to say that. But where's the mismatch, Sosion? Where's the mismatch between employment, the skills, and that brings the aspect of theory and practicality in our education system?
Yes, and also the curriculum design.
Yes.
Which, of course, it must be reviewed every 5 years in accordance with UNESCO to ensure that the education system being offered by any nation is relevant to the market. You don't just offer education for the sake of offering. You must ensure that courses being offered by universities is what is required in the market, and has been stated by my fellow panelists here, also allow students to take courses of their own choices. That is why
that happens in Uganda.
Career
preparation for the A-levels.
Career preparation is very key in our school system. 844 was tailored to prepare for an industrialized economy, and we are still focusing on that industrialized economy, and that is why we talk of STEM, but very fast forward, coming to this, looking at this and matching with education and matching with the political agenda of the day. We are talking of making Kenya as a manufacturing, value addition, and even an agricultural aggregation economy. An economy where we strengthen production, and these are employers, and the employers we are talking about here are manufacturers. This is the next big thing in this country. We are talking about Africa not exporting their raw materials, raw, but processing them locally. And that processing locally means massive investment in manufacturing. It means a lot of great demand for STEM education. This is what the Asian countries did. What did Singapore do? What did Malaysia do? What did South Korea do? They focused on industrialization and tailored the education system to concentrate mainly on STEM. And if you look at the policy of Kenya Kwanza in education, number one, to ensure that students are guided towards their specific careers. Even the grading in exams is important. You'll grade the student on the best subjects rather than selecting and dictating the way it was. That is a policy that has been brought in, and that will create almost a cluster towards a specific career, because a career goes with competencies in performance at the ordinary level exam. Now, then deliberate restructuring of our education system to give us these particular skills in a very effective way. Like we have seen, communication, IT, are very critical areas that are required. And that is why, if you look at the model of funding, even the new university funding model, it emphasizes in funding TVET very strongly. It also focuses in declaring, the universities must declare the cost of every course. And all those courses must be relevant to the market.
That's
now,
exactly
universities
what you're saying,
will have to offer that.
The study conducted by FKE says that there is a high demand for job seekers with a bachelor's degree and technical and vocational education qualifications in most of the career.
Yes, and that is why, if you look at the agenda of the president, signing agreements, bilateral agreements internationally, there is a lot to do with IT, investment in IT. And focus even of creation of ICT hubs at the world level, where youth with ICT skills can be employable at that level and work within the space of employment at the ICT level. But very finally, let us not forget that these are not things we are creating today. They have been created. We are working under a blueprint of Kenya Vision 2030. And Kenya Vision 2030 is very clear in Kenya producing the most competitive globally human resource. Competitively. Globally. So we are not only preparing for the Kenyan market, but we're also preparing for the global market. And you have seen we have a State Department of Diaspora Affairs. We shall be exporting excess skilled labor because they are competitively required. Imagine if you look at Saudi Arabia. Why do you think Saudi Arabia are looking for house help from Kenya? It's because of our English, very good English, and they prefer, Kenyans are preferred in Middle East and several other parts because of competencies in English. So really, this is a pride that we have, and we should continue strengthening in our education system. Let me get this from what is required by local market and what is required by the global market.
Naftali, when you hear what CEO, FKE Jacqueline Mugo said, that as a country we are lovers of academic papers. We are very good at acquiring degrees, but this does not translate to performance at work. Now this calls for skills. It's not even about what you have at the end of the day.
Yeah, skills. So the first skill, as you have heard, is communication skills. Communication and learning skills. In his own words, and you will kindly allow me to quote the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. English is a form of communication and not a method of intelligence. I unquote. So one who speaks English does not equate that he is intelligent. It is just a form of communication. Ability. But now, because the English is what you connect to the other world, that is what you need. You cannot just have expertise on your own. How do you deliver them? That is now why you need diplomacy. Diplomacy is defined as the management of information through communication. And you cannot alienate English language. That's why we have Soshoni here, Honorable Soshoni, eloquent and fluent. And my friend here, lecturer, eloquent and fluent. Why? They are articulating what they think is best for this country. Very well. The Honorable Dr. William Ruto is another fellow who is using communication skills to enhance the productivity of this nation. Remember, the mission of the United Nations Assembly, UNCA, in regard to the Sustainable Development Goals, a shared blueprint for people and the planet now and into the future. And one of these Sustainable Development Goals is quality education. In our Constitution, Article 53, Sub-Article 1, Paragraph C, every child is entitled to free and compulsory basic education. Now, when we talk of free, it means our education ought to act at will, not hampered, not under compulsion or restraint. Number two, it must cost nothing. That's why we say it is free. So if it costs something, it is not free.
Okay. I want to, as we come to a close, Ireri, look at this way. At the end of the day, we have CBC in place. The Presidential Working Party also gave the recommendations, and this is another survey. What do you really think is running through the minds of students who are pursuing courses, PhD students, master's students, as that is concerned? Because the entry level is more of TVET graduates or even middle-level colleges with diplomas and postgraduate and undergraduate. So where does that really leave the continuing students currently, and how will the government sort this out in the next years to come? I will come with 1 minute, Mr. Sosion, for you to finalize on that for us. Kindly, go ahead.
Thank you. This report may discourage those who are taking their masters and PhDs, but I would say that it shouldn't discourage anybody at all. Because when you, and I'm actually one of them because I'm a PhD student at JKUAT. PhD,
are you worried you're not going to get a job?
PhD is about inventing. Coming up with
new knowledge.
Don't give up.
I'm telling others, other PhD students. It's about coming up with new ideas, inventing new issues which have never not been invented before. So these things are the ones which come down and shape other working areas. So at the end of the day, we need them to. We need people to be up there.
All right.
They're very, 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 very important. So they should not feel discouraged.
However, my last question: is there hope? Is there hope? Even with
very big hope. Very big hope. Very big hope. Because remember, some of these people doing their PhD, they are not doing their PhD to go and look for jobs at entry level. Maybe some of them are advanced,
already employed,
and they have been maybe in the job market.
Yes.
So if KBC today wants somebody at the management level, and you have equal experience of 5 years or so. If you have a PhD, that's an added advantage. That's an added advantage. So at the end of the day, it is important also to go up.
Okay. We need to leave. But
very important. Nobody should
allow me to leave. Just 30 seconds. Is there hope?
Those being employed at diploma and bachelors will have opportunity to advance their education to masters and PhD. This is not to say people with masters and PhD are disqualified from the job market upon graduation. That is not the case. Then number two, the overall thing that we need is realignment of our education system to produce graduates who are creative, innovative, and self-driven in any enterprise. Even as we think of industrializing our country and introducing manufacturing in a large scale, production in a large scale, value addition in a large scale, we will need skilled citizens to do that. And we can only get this through a reformed education system.
Thank you.
And those reforms are underway, and they're subject to constant review, constant consultation by the citizens, by the experts, and even by the potential employers. And talking about internship, one of the big programs of internship and incubation of skills is allowing employers to develop incubation centers in the training institutions so that you don't talk about the end product. The employers themselves participate in the process of creating these particular products. And I think Kenya and Kenya Kwanza administration, we are on the right track and on the right trajectory in linking the model of our education system, the market needs, and the future world of work. Future world of work.
Thank you. I had a reason why I had to give it to Sion to finalize. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. For Sion, who is a CAS, former NAT Secretary General, I have got Nyamongo, who is certified public mediator. Professional mediator. Thank you so much. And Mwati Reri, who is also a governance expert. He's also a part-time lecturer. Asante sana. Education is the basement where all of us come from. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We're taking a break, but when we come back, Vivian is going to handle another topic that is affected many people and is affecting many people right now. Navigating redundancies, even at this particular time of hard economic times. That's a discussion that you don't want to miss. Good morning. I'm Victor Lo. Bye-bye.
A man's death has condemned them to live a rivalry because of their father.
He killed my brother. He stayed with his land and with his wife. Or did you forget how my brother Tulio Irazabal died?
I dare you to kiss me again.
What we feel is too strong to just let it go.
Your wife is cheating on you. Shut up. Who is your lover?
Tell me why last night you lied to your boyfriend, Amparo. Explain to me what you were doing outside our house, kissing the veterinarian.
I have fallen in love with another man.
3 love affairs that will be challenged. The 3 will manage to get ahead. Their magnificence, their passion and strength. Las Bandidas.
It's a cocktail of emotions. The puns that cracks up the family. Greed that yields power and a hunger for success. Friends turn to foes. Survival for the fittest is the drive.
Who are we blackmailing?
But nothing beats the feud in a family where one disappears and another fights for the crown.
It was not supposed to go this far.
It's the desire to succeed that keeps us going, the deception that keeps us digging, and the laughter pill that keeps us living.
All nation rise.
Childhood mortality, or in simple terms, childhood deaths, is an indicator of a society's or a nation's well-being and socio-economic status.
From this report again, we see that there is high male-female mortality compared to female. Under 5 mortality is at par in both rural and urban. It's at 41 deaths per 1,000 live births.
But what are some of the interventions that are being put, and what would you advise?
Delivery at a health facility will improve the chances of the mother and the child surviving.
متغير ياما عن زمان قافل على قلبك البيبان حبيت وفارقت كم مكان.
Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam alituhimiza tutekeleze mambo ambayo natija yake ni kukaribia Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala na kupata radhi zake.
Je, wewe kama mwanadamu umeweza kuimarisha vipi mafungamano yako katika wewe kama mja na Mola wako tabaraka wa taala?
Balle balle balle.
All right, now from that very interesting conversation that my colleague Victor just had, we now get into a different segment, and today being a Wednesday, it is Women at the Forefront, and I am joined by a woman who's doing exemplary well in her field. Her name is Polly Kibe, and she is the director and co-founder of Homes Heart Properties Limited. Polly, welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Good morning, Vivian.
Yeah.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Polly Kibe.
Yes.
I'm here this morning.
Yeah, if I may just allow you to tell us a bit more about yourself.
My name is Polly Kibe, born and raised in Muranga. I'm the director and co-founder of Homes Heart Properties. Our offices are Kitengela. Maybe to contact us 0793 655 655. I'm a single mother of a son. And this far is God.
All right. If I may just ask you how you got into real estate, because I understand your background is in banking. How did you get yourself into real estate?
Okay, having worked in a corporate world, it is maybe around 2019, 2020, when the COVID came. I was looking for property before then. And somehow I almost got duped. And I thought, why not look for something to do with property, something legit, affordable for people.
Masinde was born in 1933 in Nambale Town, Busia District, now Busia County. He worked as a teacher at various intermediate schools in Western Kenya before independence. Soon after,
do apologize for that little mishap. So before we took that, break that wasn't expected, you were just telling me about how you got into real estate.
Okay, I was saying back then around 2017, I was looking for a piece of land and I almost got duped, as I was saying, and somehow somebody helped me and I got to buy the land. And because of that, something got to me and I thought, why not look for the way that I can get into this world of, actually is dominated by men. And I was like, maybe I can help people to have affordable, flexible, and there I was. I met my partner and somehow we got into it.
There's something you've mentioned. It is a field that is male-dominated.
Yeah.
And being a woman in this business, has it been easier or more difficult for you to maneuver in it?
Well, I would say it's challenging in the sense that it's not easy to go into a man's world and think you just be easy for you. But somehow you try to get into it and blend with them and you'll fit somehow. Because I don't believe in giving up.
Yeah. Now, speaking about real estate, this is one area that many people get duped in. Because there are many scammers in real estate who purport to be real estate agents and so on, and they dupe people. So if you may just give us some tips on how to get into the business of real estate first, and then how to work around getting property, and the tips that you should go through so that you don't get to a point where, what we just experienced the other day, where
people's houses were being demolished, like for example in Mavoko. So if you may tell us on how to get into the business, and also for someone who's looking to own property, what steps they should follow to ensure that they are going through the right channels.
Okay, one thing, when it comes to a business where you're going to be to do with the society, you have to be very careful because not everybody is trusting. And for you to trust, you have really to get first to know these people. In our case, we ask people to do due diligence when they are coming to buy our properties. Go have a search down at the land's office. You can use a surveyor to locate the land, whether the land you're saying is actually there, once you have the title copy, and also involve a legal advisor. Yeah.
Yeah. So ensure you have a lawyer.
A lawyer.
Ensure you go survey the land that you are going to buy, and then also do a search
at the land's office.
Yeah,
it's
so
very important.
You personally, physically go to the land's office to do this particular search. It's not a search that can be done online.
Okay, for Nairobi, it's already connected, and that one is done in Nairobi County. They can do it through online, but these other places you go physically. You go there and do the back check of that property.
Yeah. Is it such a long process? Is it why we see many people just, you just go through the corners, if I may say?
Not
go
really.
Through the corners to acquire maybe a title deed that is not even legit. Is it that the process is long, or is it what do you think is the problem? Because we see such cases many a times, time and again you'll hear of someone who says, I was duped. I bought land, kumbe ilikuwa ni hewa. Or that land was someone else's land, Where is the challenge?
I would say in the developing world, you don't miss such things. There'll always be people who would like to take shortcuts. There are always people who would like to do things in a different way, but avoid shortcuts. And then the other thing I would tell people is always think twice. Cheap is not easy. When you feel there's a sense telling you, do this, do that, check another place, or go back there and check again, please do. Because you are the one who is going to use money. Not the other way around. You're the one who is going to acquire that land. You're the one who is going to own that land. So, because it's your money you're going to use, always do the right thing. You follow the right channel. Yeah.
For those who are not in the country, work abroad, and would love to own property in the country, how do they go about it? Because as you mentioned, you need to physically go to the land's office to do this search. You need to physically go to the land or property that you want to buy for you to see that this land is actually there. For someone who's not around, what would you advise?
I would advise, okay, we also have such people in our business, and most of them, what they do, they have people who are on this side, because definitely they have relatives. Some send their relatives to come and do the proper site visits, to come and see where they take those documents and go to the land's places, the land's office, and they involve all the necessary people to go and do the due diligence for them. So I would advise, if you have somebody this side, do it. If you can also use a lawyer to do that for you. Yeah, that's the channel they follow, most of them. Yeah.
Okay. Is this a business that anyone can get into?
Yes.
It's open for anyone?
It's open. See, before I went there, I thought it was not. But once I got into it, I realized that you can do anything you want to. Especially women, you're not limited. Get in there and do it. Yes, you might fail, but don't give up. Wake up and try again.
They say that failure is just one way of showing you that this can't work, this isn't working, so try another one. So it's not really failure.
You learn. You'll fail, but you learn something.
Now, if I want to, if I come to you as someone who's into real estate and I ask you, which is better, would you advise me to buy land and start building my own maybe home, or would you advise me to buy property that has already been established? Which one is maybe cheaper? Which one is...
Okay.
Which one would you advise me to go for?
I did my building when I was working, and I'm telling you, you will be you will lose a lot of money. So me, I would advise you build. Be there or look for somebody to do it for you.
Yeah.
There you'll have, the person will come and tell you, like the quantity surveyor might be involved, and they'll tell you this is the much you'll use, this is the time it will take, and then you'll be able to know how much it's going to use. So for me, I would advise somebody to do the building themselves, not to buy and then for building yourself, you'll build your taste. What you're buying is not your taste.
Yeah.
You might be wanting a bigger kitchen for women and all that. So I would advise people to build themselves.
Yeah, so
and it is cheaper.
It's cheaper to build.
To me, yes, it might be tiring, but if you can hire somebody to do it for you, you can do it.
Yeah. So if I'm looking to own property, you'd advise me to get land instead of me buying an already established building?
Yes.
Or it depends with whether I
But
want it
also
to
it
be maybe a residential place or if it's my own place. It depends with that?
No,
Does it matter if I want it to be maybe rentals?
Yeah, for rentals, I would advise you to buy land and build them yourselves.
Okay. So either way, just buy
But
and
either
build
way
for
is okay,
yourself.
but me, I would rather do it like buy land, then you build it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it's cheaper.
It's cheaper even. You save a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's something known as imposter syndrome. You know, that is self-doubt. Do you ever get that? You know, do you ever get to a point where you doubt yourself, and how do you go past that?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Especially when you're starting, you feel if I approach people to start telling them about what they do, how will they feel? But somehow when you start and you learn something from it, because once you start talking to somebody, the person will always ask you questions, and from that you gain that confidence and you go on. Yeah, so it's there, but you overcome it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, since this is a segment where we just want to uplift women, you know, it's a segment that is set aside for women. So for a woman who's watching, you know, many a times women are asked to shrink themselves. You know, we live in that community, in that society where women are expected to shrink themselves. It's not as much now because more women are empowered, but for a woman who's watching us right now and they are wondering, how have you worked towards having that grit whereby you set your goals and you go, you run with them, you go towards your goals and ensure that you actually cancel them out, you know, because you've accomplished, you get to accomplish whatever you set yourself to do. For someone who's watching, how do you build that grit, you know, as a woman where you stand firm?
Okay, as a woman, I would tell the women out there, if you can't do it alone, I'm sure we all have our another woman friend, you have a chama, just go there, hold each other's hands, or check it, or you check what you can do in the society, and just do it. Because I believe with chamas people can go far. It's only that field people have not explored. But with chama mukishikana, you will go far. Because I believe when you go to something alone, you might be having something which I don't have. But when we come together, we can go far. So I would tell women, those small chamas, you can do outside what you do. You know, women are used to buying utensils, such things. Get out of that. Because utensils, you'll only use one plate at a time. And it will never bring you income. Go out there, buy a piece of land. Do low income generating houses or rentals, and you'll get something out of it. Me, I would advise them to go far. And then we have this thing of, like as we do through bank financing, you are also doing something with Biashara Sacco. Yeah, they will support you and you'll go far. Yeah.
Okay. How do you make your money work for you? Because money is supposed to work for you and not the other way around. Most of us are still at the point where, you know, money is not really working for us. We are working for the money. So how do you get to a point where your money is actually working for you, being someone who has a background in you know, in banking? How do you make your money work for you?
Okay, in corporate world, we are, you have actually, you learn this thing of saving. Always save something for tomorrow. And learn also to invest, because when you invest, especially in land never loses value. It always increases in value. Even if you buy land today, you'll not sell the same price tomorrow. So always look for something with money, and then discipline. Discipline matters a lot.
Yeah.
Be disciplined, and whenever you decide to do investment, invest wisely. Always look for something which you know will bring you returns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about saving, now that money is supposed to work for you, am I just to set this money aside and just leave it, in some bank account or wale wako mattress banking, where the ones who put their money in the house? Like, I know there's something known as, making your, I keep saying this, making your money work for you. Like you put your money aside, but you make it work for you as you put it aside. I hear like things like money market, compound interest, and so on and so forth. What would you say about that? Would you advise us more on saving our money? How do you save your money to make it work for you?
Okay. Saving money can be in two ways, either through investment or through money market. But for money market, when you compare the interest you earn on money you save through money market, it's good. But you can still access that money anytime you want. But when you come to investing, you buy land. That is money in form of land. And you can't use it if you buy a piece of land today. If you want to use that money tomorrow, you cannot unless you sell. But with money market, you just call and tell them, I need my money. Yeah, so those are different.
My money hasn't gotten to a point where I can buy land to have it aside in terms of my saving as my investment. How do I go about this other money that is liquid?
I would advise you to go to a financial institution. With what you have saved, it can help you to get something to own the land. Yeah. Or to do something you want to invest in. That is why the circles are there. The financial institutions are there. And with that, you can be able even to use that money which you have kept aside, which is going to be used by the bank to do something else also. So you can use it yourself. I'm not saying that saving is not good, but for you to get more, you have to do something which is bringing you income.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you on that. There's a project you work on, you work with the community, you work with women, you work with the youth. Very quickly as we wind up this conversation, tell us about that bit.
Okay. With Homes at Properties, we came up with something called Homes at Foundation. We help children's home, we help people who have gone through Form 4 and all. They can't be able to afford their secondary education. We also help the less fortunate. We do that by visiting children's home, by paying school fees. And I hope people out there can do more of that. And I would advise that whenever women are empowered, you empower a community. Because women have more in a community than men when it comes to empowering. Yes.
All right.
We also do Homes at Construction, where we build houses also, and that's the same. Yes.
Okay. That's for someone who would love to reach you, maybe because of probably there's a children's home that is watching and they've heard you say that you actually go to children's home, you help pay their fees. Where can they contact you? That is social media.
Okay, our social media pages, they are at Facebook, Homes at Properties, all social media platforms. Homes at Properties, there is Facebook, there is Instagram, TikTok, they are all there.
All right.
Homes at Properties. Our number is 0793 655 655. We are at Kitengela, Marshville Hub.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for just talking to us about real estate. I hope that there's a woman who has been empowered to do more and to go for their dreams no matter the circumstances. All right, this is where we stop this particular conversation, but don't you go too far because Good Morning Kenya continues. Mike Megwe will be up next.
Daniel found out that Anibal knows about what happened to Carolina.
You made a big mistake, traitor. You knew where she was that whole time that she was injured, and you didn't say anything.
There are men already on his trail, and they're going to charge him for that drug shipment.
Look who decided to grace us with his presence.
To forgive me for all the offensive things that I have done to you.
She left very sad because she herself found out that you're already seeing another woman.
But that is not true.
Congratulations!
That as you begin to take on this new path together,
estaré contigo cuando tú lo quieras en el crudo invierno.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is one thing we can always count on: the power of compassion and generosity. Every day, families in Kenya face unimaginable challenges and hardships. They struggle to put food on the table, provide shelter for their loved ones, and access basic health care. But today, you have the power to make a difference. By just contributing 1 shilling and 50 cents from your airtime, your generosity can provide access to sanitary pads, nutritious food, clean water, education, and life-saving medical care to those who need it most. To support this cause, please tune in to your favorite radio station under the KBC umbrella for step-by-step instructions on how to subscribe. KBC Helping Hands. Together, we can make a difference and bring hope to those in need.
A man's death has condemned them to live a rivalry because of their father.
He killed my brother. He stayed with his land and with his wife. Or did you forget how my brother Tulio Irazabal died?
I dare you to kiss me again.
What we feel is too strong to just let it go.
Your wife is cheating on you. Shut up! Who is your lover?
Tell me why last night you lied to your boyfriend, Amparo. Explain to me what you were doing outside our house, kissing the veterinarian.
I have fallen in love with another man.
3 love affairs that will be challenged. The 3 will manage to get ahead. Their magnificence, their passion and strength. Las Bandidas.
And welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Megui, and now we want to take a very interesting conversation that is revolving around redundancy. Now, Kenya, like other nations, is experiencing the effects of high cost of living, high energy costs, and businesses, on the other hand, are trying to stay afloat within this scenario, and this will form the basis of our conversations. And we are talking about overcoming redundancy amidst the high cost of living. And to join me, to help me in this conversation in studio, I'm joined by one Arnold Ochieng, who is the General Manager of Workforce Africa. Karibu sana to the studio.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Morning. I'm fine, thank you.
Maybe to start off, is the cost of living a good enough reason to consider to consider effecting redundancies in any business or organization?
So thank you once again for this opportunity. Yes. Definitely the cost of living directly affects the running of business of any entity. Yes. Because you'll find that when the high cost of living arises, then there's increased cost of running a business, and in turn, there's a reduced spending power for each and every person or organization. Yes.
Now, when we talk about redundancies, what major factors may lead to businesses or organizations consider effecting redundancies in various departments that constitute their businesses?
So what might lead organization to consider redundancy, first of all, like I mentioned, is the increased cost of doing business. First of all, a business has to establish exactly what the main objective as an organization is.
Yes.
If they're able to identify those kind of bits, then now they have to make a decision exactly. There are certain roles and there are certain positions that directly affect the running of a business. So with that, they're able to make that decision, ensuring that if I have to ensure that my business is being profitable enough, certain roles being directly affecting my revenue income, or others are not affecting the income. So definitely those are the areas or aspects that organizations bring into consideration when coming up with such decisions.
Yes. Now, to anyone who is watching us, one may wonder, when it comes to redundancy, is it the person who is declared redundant, or it's the position they have that becomes redundant?
So first of all, you need to understand exactly what redundancy is.
Yes.
So for you to understand, redundancy is when an employer is unable to offer an employee a job or a position. So, and in any given organization, when an organization is being set up as a whole department, the jobs are the first thing that are factored before I even bring in any talent or I bring in any person to execute that job. So first of all, I have to identify, I have to give consideration to is this role affecting the running of my business? So definitely, if an organization decides that this position is no longer relevant, is no longer in line with the objectives of the organization, then definitely the role has to be declared redundant and not the employee. It's basically the role.
All right, let's talk about assessing finances. Now that for a person who has been declared, whose position has been declared redundant, what are the steps that they can take as they assess their financial situation, especially when they have been declared, when their position has become redundant?
So for such kind of a situation, first of all, organization, before you even communicate the same to the affected person, the organization has to put steps in place to ensure that there's proper procedures that lead up to the point where so and so is being declared redundant. So basically, as per the labor laws, it's required that you're able to inform this person within 30 days of you executing the same redundancy order. So definitely, for organizations that have proper structures and proper setup, they take employees through a necessary step to ensure that they're well catered for, they're well supported in such a way that they understand the reason why this redundancy, this action is being actually taken place for that specific role. Then now forward, you have to understand that from now, 30 days from now, where will I be in a financial position? Definitely there'll be a package that I'll receive from my employer, which includes my either accrued leave days, the 30 days notice period, and other benefiting factors, also the severance pay. But given that, I have to now ensure that whatever finances I have as I prepare for my next job or opportunity, I have to ensure that put my finances in order, get what I need to be, what I need to do to get done during that period, to ensure that I don't lose any, don't get behind in any terms of financial obligations, or I don't lose any amount of finance during that time. Yeah.
All right. Now, when we talk about the high cost of living, it's affecting everyone, not only businesses, it's affecting everyone. Now, what is the importance, or how crucial is it to prioritize expenses and identify areas that maybe need temporary cutbacks in light of the already now happened redundancy declaration and the high cost of living?
So maybe to iterate on that, there's something we studied back then called the hierarchy laws of needs. So definitely that the three basic needs that for every person needs to survive, that's the food, shelter, and clothing. So definitely, as you're going to this period for where probably you don't have any form of income coming in, then definitely your focus should maybe now be on your basic needs, like are you able to provide for yourself or for your family the food, basic needs. So that should be a guiding factor in exactly what you need to be prioritizing on expenditure. There are certain expenditure that, yes, might be necessary, but are they really important at this kind of stage? So as long as the three basic needs are able to be catered for, then that's where your priority should be in terms of your expenses and in terms of your budgeting. Yeah.
Now, you've talked about budgeting. Now, talk about how, if you are declared redundant, how then do you stick to a strict budget to manage yourself between this? Because when you have been created redundant, it means you have lost your job.
True.
So how can one remain strictly within the confines of the budget that they have during this period and before they get or they move to the next job?
For you to be able to stay within your budget, first of all, you need to understand exactly where do you stand in a financial position. You need to also assess, like I mentioned, what are your current needs. Then now that informs your decision in terms of your budgeting. And then now, based on whatever savings probably you had, during your time of employment, plus also the last package that you are offered, then now you're able to spread it across, probably to make it safer, giving 6 to 12 months in a way that you don't exceed 30% of what you currently have in your reserves at the moment, so that it limits you to a situation where you are still able to survive, you're still able to get things done, as you're still looking for opportunities, and also still empowering and upskilling yourself as you prepare for the next kind of opportunity you're expecting.
Yes. Now, when in employment, people are encouraged to make networks, establish networking to enhance chances of maybe moving up the ladder or getting a new job. How essential is networking in the industry as you are seeking a new job, especially after your position has become redundant?
Networking is very key in each and every kind of setup that we live in. And as a professional, where you're working, definitely you are interacting with various key stakeholders in your various industries. For example, if you are an operations kind of person, sort of operations lead, you are interacting with the various other sister companies or other stakeholders. So the networking bit around that helps you in a way that even when you're not in a position you're not having the position that you currently hold, these networks are able to give you referrals, because there's actually power in referral. You'll find most organizations, they trust, are focused on recruiting based on referrals. You'll find I would probably pick somebody from an organization that I've worked with before, or a recommendation from a fellow head of a company that have worked with them before. So definitely networking goes a long way in pushing you to the next level and upskilling in terms of your role.
Yes.
Yeah.
A skill development, it plays a very big role whether you are employed or you are not employed. It's essential. Talk about how it enhances a person's marketability and chances of securing a new job after getting after redundancy.
So definitely one thing about being in employment or being a professional is that every day is an opportunity for you to learn. Yeah, so there's no limit to education, there's no limit to learning. So one thing I normally encourage or I push to my team is that I ask them at the end of the day, what have you learned as a person? How have you upskilled yourself? You're living in an era where all skills are available on a free. We have YouTube access, we have internet and other aspects of training where you'll find people are able to upskill on certain skills that are free on those kind of platforms. So definitely, even as you're working or when you're not in employment, you're able now to, how do you push yourself to the next limit? There's always a skill that is learned every day, because we're living in an era where most jobs are a threat of probably the AI technology that we are currently seeing recently. So you need to make yourself marketable. You need to make yourself upskilled in such a way that when in any turn of event, you're still sellable as a person and you're still sellable as a professional in your own position.
Now, is it, when it comes to skill development, is it about one's passion or what makes the cut in the market? Because there's a level to which a person may want to pursue, for instance, accounting, but the market, on the other hand, is requiring something else. Is it about passion or just conforming to what the available opportunities?
That's a very interesting kind of view.
Yes.
I'd say both. That's on my own opinion, because first of all, if you mention accounting, somebody who is in accounting has ability now to foresee what does the market demand for me in the next 5 or 6 years. How is the market evolving around accounting in the accounting and finance space? That can be able to inform a decision on upskilling yourself. And then when it comes to passion, you can be an accountant, but you have a passion for something different, which is still okay, because at the end of the day, we're looking for ways to earn a living, because it's at times passion might not bring food on your table, but what pays you is actually what you're professional. And so even as you're working on your passion, definitely you can still skill yourself on that area, because who knows, one time if you decide to fully venture into it, probably it might pay off. But whatever is you're currently working on as a professional, that is what you should be focused on, primarily ensuring that you upskill yourself on a day-to-day basis.
Now, when it comes to when you have been declared redundant,
yes,
it's your employment that has ended.
Sure.
But then again, that does not mean that is the end of the road.
Yeah.
There is also a chance for new opportunities.
True.
How can individuals leverage remote work, especially now that we are living in an age where people are working from home? How can people leverage on this aspect to broaden their chances after they have been declared redundant?
So leveraging on remote work is basically just trying to also get opportunities that are working elsewhere. Like if you are a specialty, you have a specialty in a given kind of field. Right now we have a lot of platforms that offer remote work opportunities. So you'll find one platform that are focused on either IT, other platforms are focused on finance, other aspects are focused on other aspects of different areas. So when you're able to package yourself as a professional, first of all, when you are at the stage of exiting or transitioning, you need to ensure that you package yourself in a way that even if you're putting yourself out there for the next job, your profile enough is convincing that you have the necessary skill to support given kind of roles. You have the necessary skill to also drive certain kind of avenues. So the key thing is packaging yourself, because you might be going on this trying to get these remote jobs, but you have not packaged yourself in the right way. So first of all, you need to get somebody who is able to assist you in packaging your profile in the correct way. Then now you're able to market yourself on these platforms that offer this remote work and also this kind of project kind of executions.
Yes. Yeah. There is also the aspect of the emotional impact redundancy can have on a person who has lost their job.
True.
What sort of support are they supposed to receive? Because we are all human. It will affect you in to some extent, because this is something you have been relying on primarily for your livelihood.
True.
So how can a person who has been declared redundant be helped when it comes to the emotional aspect and the impact of redundancy on their life?
So the impact of redundancy definitely will affect the emotional kind of bit. So our approach as professionals in this space is that first of all, like I mentioned earlier, in terms of how do we ensure that this process is done in a humane way and it is done in a professional way.
Yes.
So our focus is definitely on communication, education, and self-realization.
Yes.
So the self-realization bit is now where the mental bit comes in. So when now you are transitioning, we normally encourage employers to do it in a way that, first of all, you get to talk to this person on a one-to-one basis, rather than doing just letters and mails. First of all, have a discussion with them, understand them, explain to them, this is what is happening to the organization, this is what we are looking for, and going forward, this is how we have restructured the session. So for you, we are able to also give you mental support now, getting you proper people who are able to give you psychological help, like mental awareness training. So they're able now to talk to you, understand to you that this is not the end of the world. Definitely, because jobs are basically about financial security. So when someone loses that opportunity to get an income, then it definitely affects their mental aspect. So you need to prepare them in a way that tell them that this is not the end of the world. Everything has to be put properly in order, first of all, and also prepare them financially, like how our finances are ready, how your finances are. You need to, going forward, how now you should be more wary of what you spend on, plus also now how do you ensure that you package yourself and prepare yourself for the next opportunity that is coming.
Well, even before we come to the point that you have been declared redundant, I would want to hear your views on the importance of setting up an emergency fund to cater for any eventuality, whether you have lost your job through redundancy or retrenchment.
So preparing yourself stems also from how the organization prepare yourself. A good organization is a good organization that is able to engage their staff in a holistic way. First of all, you don't need to have redundancies to start having sessions with your staff. How do you engage your staff? First of all, you need to help them set up, first of all, when they engage your session, give them financial wellness training. I think part of our successful culture is have these constant sessions with your team, whether or not the dances are happening. Give them access to this kind of training so that they're able to understand exactly, in any eventuality, I am sorted out as a person, that I can be able to also survive for 3 or 4 months. Because we need to believe that at times, not only redundancy can happen, something else might happen, and you also need to still have your finances in order. So the holistic way is organizations need to have set up proper engagement sessions with their team, give them this frequently training, have them include financial wellness in part of their L&D during the course of the employment. This encourages the staff members to also have the responsibility and have the accountability to ensure that also they're doing their part in terms of financial responsibility.
Yes. Now, to a person who may be declared redundant, or let's talk about a company that plans on effecting redundancy. Talk about the importance of transparent communication, because this, as we have said, is going to take a toll on the person that will be affected by redundancy. What is the importance of transparent communication, especially on the part from the part of the employer with regards to redundancy?
Communication is key in the whole process of redundancy, like I mentioned earlier. Then also, you have first also to understand, redundancy is about the role, it's not about the person. So when you're able to have a session with a specific individual who is executing, who is supporting the organization in that role, and outline to them that currently the role that supports probably execution or supports operations in the next 2 or 3 months, we're not looking at sustaining the role. It's no longer a role that will be relevant to the organization in the coming months. So the employee needs to understand exactly why it's being done. So for them understanding that bit, then it gives them a clearer picture of exactly what's going on in that specific role.
Now, when it comes to redundancies, businesses, of course, they will do it depending on the prevailing economic situation and cost of living. What steps should they take to ensure or to plan for these redundancies? Because without compromising on the essential operations of the business itself.
So the steps that the business needs to take to plan for this, first of all, is communication. Communication is going to affect everything that is going on. First of all, communication to the relevant authorities. That has to be done as per the labor law that requires. So once the communication is done, there has to be proper reorganization with the staff. It has to be laid down clearly exactly. The plans for this now, after we have done the communication to you, we want to take you through a training that will assist you in transitioning. We also have to prepare you financially. This is what the package that we are giving you as you're transitioning. And then also we have to prepare you for the next kind of role. How do we support you in packaging yourself as a professional so that you're able to be able to sell, able to apply for other positions. So an organization that plans for this kind of process is able now to even give, that's another form of goodwill to the exiting employee, because they now understand, because the employee is not just leaving the employer to the world, but he has already also prepared them for the next kind of challenge or the next kind of opportunity that they're looking forward to.
Now, I would want to know the place of innovation in diversification for businesses as they try to mitigate the effects of high cost of living and still carry out redundancies. What is the place of innovation in this whole saga?
The place of innovation in the whole this part is just first of all, we have different forms of ensuring that you're able to contain the situation or the high cost of living or the cost of doing business. There are certain operational costs that a business will have, for example, office space, internet. For you to be able to try and mitigate redundancy, are you able to consider innovation around hybrid working? That can also be an alternative in terms of innovation, because currently we're living in an era where we're having virtual meetings, something that never used to happen before. So if productivity of your team is not affected by them being physically present in the office, then how about you try and invent situations where they work remotely. This gives you an opportunity to be able to cut on expenses like office space rent. You look at internet, the Wi-Fi that you pay for the office. So it gives an opportunity also now to also reduce the expenses. Then now you're able now to focus on other things.
As we wind up, let's talk about fairness, because some employees may feel targeted because it's the position that is on the line. How can companies manage these redundancies, because it can be a challenge to them, but on the other hand, it is also a challenge and impacts differently when it comes to the employee. How can companies, as we wind up, ensure fairness in this whole process?
Okay, so to ensure fairness, first of all, again, you go back to what is redundancy. So it's when an employer cannot offer you employment for due circumstances that are totally not related to either performance or behavior. So definitely, when it comes now to performance, you might be the outstanding performer in the organization, but your role is affected. So to ensure there's clarity on that, we have to also give them the opportunity, the employee an opportunity also to be able to express themselves and also give what steps the organization are taking to ensure that they are dealt with. So if it's about a role, you have to make it clear to them that it's this role that is affected. You as an employee, as an individual, you have no issues with it. There is no performance issue. There is no behavioral issue.
Yes. Thank you so much, Bwana Arnold Ochieng, for coming to the show and talking about this topic.
Thank you very much,
Mike. We have been speaking to Arnold Ochieng, who is the General Manager of the Workforce Africa. This is where Good Morning Kenya puts a wrap on the show. I have been your host, Mike Megwe. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
All nation rise.